Being financially literate is not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and for how many generations keeps that money for you. But the key question here is how long will your money stay in the hands of your descendants or your benefit?
Very few people know who this man is. Cornelius Vanderbilt. He was the richest man in America in the 1800s, and he primarily built his wealth in shipping and railroad. At the time of his death in 1877, his wealth was valued at $100 million. Now, he also had 13 children. Yeah, I know that's a lot. Now, out of the 13, only one of them had the same business acumen like he did, and that was William Henry Vanderbilt, born in 1821 and died in 1885. So out of that 100 million, 95 million went to William, and the rest of the 5 million was split amongst the other siblings that were still living. Now, by the time William inherited 95 million, he was able to turn 95 to 200 million by the time he passed away in 1885. Well, William had 8 children. Now, unfortunately, they did not have the same financial or business acumen like he did. So by 1930 to 1940, their wealth was completely gone. And here's the reason why. Number one, no business or financial knowledge. Number two, no succession planning from one generation to the next generation. Lavish lifestyle, overspending, no trust structure to make sure that the wealth continued to pass on to future generation. And lastly, no insurance structures like other wealthy families that we know today. By the time they did the family reunion, all right, with the heirs that were still living at that time, none of them were millionaires. And as of today, there are roughly 120 to 150 living descendants of Cornelius Vanderbilt. So oftentimes I always hear people say, Deepo, I want to build generational wealth. And I always think to myself, well, generational wealth is not just you transferring money to the next generation. It's also transferring business and financial knowledge, putting structures in place and making sure that your children, your grandchildren are well educated on how to manage financial resources and then pass it on to the next generation. So if there's anything you can learn from Cornelius Vanderbilt, it's not just accumulating money for yourself or your children or your grandchildren, but more importantly, making sure that you're putting together structures along the way to make sure that the wealth will outlive you, the second, third, and even fourth generation, and continues to get passed on for future generations.
Being financially literate is not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and for how many generations keeps that money for you. But the key question here is how long would your money stay in the hands of your descendants or your beneficiary? But here's a question you have to answer for yourself. The key problem here is financial literacy. As individuals, it is our responsibility to learn the key rules or the simple rules of money and how money works. Money is a numbers game, so you have to learn the rules of money. So it is your responsibility as a parent or as an individual to teach your children, your beneficiary, on how to preserve money and how to keep money, on how to compound money and keep it for generational purpose. Also, it is your responsibility to also set up a trust system where your resources or your money you have worked out throughout the years is being managed. You're setting rules and regulations on how this money will be managed, so much such that your children will not spend this money lavishly or buy expensive stuff out of nowhere. Definitely set rules and regulations on how this money is going to be used and keep generating more income for the family. So if you want to set up a system or you want to build wealth for yourself, you want to learn how money works, DM me Empire and I will be willing to work with you. Thank you.